It's the Springboks versus the Pumas in Argentina this weekend with the Rugby Championship on the line and number one place in the world on the line. Welcome back to the Rugby Oaks. My name's Matt, and today we're going to talk a little bit about Springboks, Pumas, the match this weekend, 11 o'clock SA time, 10 p.m. UK time. It's going to be a cracker. Remember to subscribe, drop a comment on what you think the game is going to be like, and let's dive straight into it. Now, Springboks, Pumas, it's not always been this kind of match. It's throughout our history, played 36, we've won 32 of them, drawn 1 and lost 3. So very one-sided on the Springboks side, but this year, the Pumas are in it and are able still mathematically to win the Rugby Championship. If they beat us twice in a row and the maths works out, they could win their first trophy. So a lot on the line for the men in Argentina. For Rusty and his Chargers, 10 changes in the starting lineup, 2 on the bench. A lot on the line for the first full Rugby Championship. The last time we won it in 2019 was an abridged version for the World Cup. And this is also the first time that we're really dominating after a World Cup win. So 2019, obviously we had COVID that stopped us in our tracks. And this is a really point where Rusty wants to dominate the next 4 years while making changes to get the youngsters ready for 2027. So we got an 88.9% win rating. Hopefully that will go up this weekend. We'll secure the win in Argentina on Saturday night, and we can crack on. But let's not forget, these RGs have beaten Australia by a record amount last week. I think they scored 9 tries, 8 of which in the second half. Might be slightly wrong there, but it was absolutely outstanding. Unlucky to lose to Australia lucky for the Boks that they lost to Australia the week before in those awful conditions. And then, of course, they had an absolute stonking game against the All Blacks in that first game, beating them in the death before getting spanked the week after in I think it was Auckland. So up and down for the RGs, yes, but they're still in it to win it. So let's look quickly at the Springboks and the RGs lineup. So went through the Boks early in the week. You can catch up the full review of that, but let's just compare the kind of sets of players here. So front row, the keys really, Ox Malcolm, Thomas du Toit, all very experienced. Thomas du Toit got a few caps under his belt, but he's been there, done there for many, many years. He was also part of that 2019 winning World Cup and Rugby Championship team. Julian Montoya, captain for the RGs. I think he's got his century up now as well. But the key one there is Joel Sclavi, who plays for French champions at the moment, also European champions La Rochelle. Absolutely great player. Ox was talking about him in the week. He's nice and tall. He's got good power, good strength, and he's going to be a tricky opponent. So a really fun one to watch there. Where the Ox, obviously a little bit more squat, the bar fridge, as Rusty likes to call him. See if he can dominate. A little different size player, different style player. In the locks, actually, both sides, a little bit inexperienced. Samarat Ronakia, Franco Molini, and Pedro, excuse my pronunciation, Rubilio. Sound a bit more Italian, but hopefully they'll play like the Italians this weekend and lose. But the back three is where Argentina probably have a little bit more experience in the tank. Pablo Matera, we know all about him, how powerful he is. Marcus Kremer, we know how abrasive he is and physical he is. And of course, they've got Joaquin Oviedo, don't know too much about, but a very good player so far this championship, against Marco van Saden, Ben Jason Dixon, and Jasper Visser. Now, Marco van Saden and Jasper Visser, World Cup winners, they've been there, done that, but they haven't got a huge amount of game time and caps, certainly not this season, so it'll be interesting to see them adapt to that. They've got the ability to do it. It will be physical. Ben Jason Dixon, we're hoping he'll continue his rise. Obviously, had a little blip against New Zealand, got pulled early, but I've got no reason to believe he's not going to physically stand up in this match. That's going to be an amazing little battle for the Boks versus Argentina. Now, guys, if you like the content, you're here again. Thousands of you watching and only hundreds of you are subscribing. Please hit that subscribe button. Chuck a like, chuck a comment, and we'd love you to come along the ride with the Rugby Oaks. Into the backs, we've got Old Faithful, Cobus Reinach and Andre Pollard versus Gonzalo Betrano and Thomas Albornoz. Sorry, guys. Again, we don't get to watch a lot of kind of club rugby with Pumas players in at the moment. Something I should brush up on for sure. I think Corbis and Andre probably got the edge on there. They're far more experienced. They've got World Cups under their belt, and hopefully they'll just be able to pull the strings and tighten that game. It might not be the most exciting, such as when we had with Sasha on the field, but it will be certainly a well-structured and general game. Obviously, Corbis got the pace as well. Backlines, I'm quite excited for. Mapimpi, Creole, Curdley Fussy. There's pace across the park there. Mapimpi's coming towards the end of his career. He's had an absolutely fantastic career with a couple of World Cups under his belt and, of course, a great try record as well. Hopefully, he can add to that on this weekend. It's going to be interesting to see Lukanya and Jesse Creel at 12 and 13 versus Santiago Coberas and Lucano Cinti. Excuse me, once again. I think they should have the upper hand on it. But those RGs have been playing fantastically well, and they're distributing the ball all over the park. They're running lines. It's really exciting to see. So it'll be really interesting to see Lukanya playing 12, where he started his career, and Jesse playing 13. They're, of course, very solid, very creative themselves against two players who are going to absolutely run them ragged. So real fun. And to end up on the benches, guys, before we start on the bench, asked a couple of minutes ago, but if you haven't clicked subscribe, go on! Listen to me mispronounce Argentinians for the next couple of years. But jokes aside, please hit subscribe. Help us grow. Chuck a like, chuck a comment. Replacements. We've really stepped it up in the bomb squad. Young Hendrik Vessels is kind of the least experienced. He's coming in as hooker replacement. I'd actually like to see him play a bit at prop and then move to hooker. Maybe kind of test both sides there. Gerard Sennekamp, Vincent Koch, great. But Eben Etzebeth, Quagga Smith, Ulrich Lowe, in there to bring in the power in the second half versus really, Juan Martin Gonzalez, Guido Petty, Pedro Delgado Ibanez, Ignacio Calles, and Ignacio Runes. Is their impact in the second half going to be as good? Absolutely not. And that's where I think we'll probably win the game. History says these are going to be tight games, especially with that match changes. So it's going to be really interesting to see that. Of course, Santiago Carreras, fantastic player off the bench. Mateus Morini, don't know too much about him, but they're against Jaden Hendricks, who's working his way back into form. And Marnie Libok, who really he's got a bit to prove here. If he wants to continue his Springbok journey, he needs to push and prove some of the doubters wrong. We know his electric play. And potentially he'll pop in at 10, maybe move Andre to 12, keep that kicking on Andre, and maybe try Jesse Creel at fullback. He hasn't played there since his early days at the Bulls, but I was watching Kio and Zels on SA Rugby earlier in the day, and they brought it up, and I thought, wow, that would be fantastic to see. Guys, that's the lineups. Here's my prediction. What's yours? Leave it in the comments. My prediction is Boks by 8, but only in the second half. I think it's going to be very tight. I think it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable for that first 50, 60 minutes. And the last 20 minutes, I really think that bomb squad's going to tighten the screws and let the RGs just feel the pain and maybe one or two tries or for maul or breakout try towards the end of the game. Let me know what you think in the comments. In the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to see me stumble over my words. Like and pass it on to your friends. If you can spread the word about us, we'd really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening. Bye.